What's up, my dudes? It's the Vigorous Q&A again. Bi-weekly, we're doing this now, and every time, every time the weekend comes around, I'm not really sure if I have time for this, but today I had time. My wife is on baby duty, so that means I get to spend time with you guys and answer all of the drug questions. Let's see, let's do some updates. Let me know how the audio is, because every week it seems that I have some audio issues. Fingers crossed it's going well. I did my absolute best to set it up right before, but let me know if the audio is good, and then we can get right into it. Let's see. Subscribe to the Clips channel, obviously, right? The Clips channel is growing, 5,000 subscribers strong, but I would like to get that to 30,000 ASAP. So, link is down below. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to the Clips channel. I know this Vigorous Q&A gets about 10,000, 12,000 views, but from that, I would expect 10,000 subscribers on the Clips channel. So please go there and subscribe. Guys, let me know how the audio sounds, and then we can get started with the Vigorous Q&A. Not too many people here yet, so fingers crossed it's all going well. Or are you guys too slow to type? Are you guys doing your injections as we're starting this Vigorous Q&A? All right, guys, how's the audio? Come on, let me know. Sounds good. Okay. Thank God. All right. So subscribe to the Clips channel. The link is down below. I did a podcast with Nel Niga over at the Transparent podcast. It's my third time going on Transparent. We talked about BS about 50% of the time, and the other 50% of the time we were talking about something interesting. But it was a very casual conversation between me and Nel Niga. So you can find the link down below. Get that subscriber count of his YouTube channel up, please, and watch the podcast. We had a good conversation about, well, just catching up on life, basically. And I also did a podcast with Drew Donaldson over at Drew Donaldson Training, the DDT method, I believe. So you can subscribe there. I think our podcast collaboration will drop next week. So he had recently Nick Walker on, and he told me that I was the guy before Nick Walker. So I'm assuming next week will be the podcast that me and him did. It's about an hour, 15 minutes. Very interesting talk about mitochondrial sports stuff, a little bit more in depth, but I'm sure you guys will appreciate. And besides that, I did, you were 1 minute in, I did fuck all. I did fuck all. I've been doing the full-time daddy stuff. I love it. Yeah, I love it. And it means every time my baby cries, I'm from the desk straight to the baby, trying to console and make sure that everything's going well. Having a baby and doing the full-time parenting stuff is my only sole mission in life right now, and that means research and recording is being procrastinated upon. But hey, in my defense, right, for the last couple of years, I've been procrastinating about everything else. So now I'm having to get some other stuff out of the way, and then this is like the third priority after training. So I finally got 5 workouts in this week. Started a cycle again. Test DECA and Tristolone, the same cycle that I did last year, where I got up so freakishly big at 120, 122 kilos. But this time I'm going to do it as a cut. So I'm going to take the off-season drugs, which keep my joints nice and lubricated, nice and full. No elbow pain, no knee pain, no hip pain, lower back pain, right? Which I got a little bit during the YK11 experiment because it dries out the joints and lower serum estradiol levels. So I will control my serum estradiol levels this time, but I'm going to let that go up, obviously, a little bit, let's say into the 55, 75 picograms per milliliter range until I feel that it starts to hinder fat loss. But I'm going to use the off-season, the quote-unquote wet compounds to, to cut with. I'm going to stop with this high-rep bullshit. I tried it for like, I don't know, 9 months, 12 reps, 15 reps on everything. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the shit. I don't grow at all. So I'm going to go back to 6 to 8 reps, maybe 4 reps even. High power stuff, the stuff that I used to do following a ketogenic diet. And then the rest of the energy expenditure is coming from walking in between sets and doing the standing desk and the cardio, and then get lean that way. So that's why we're doing the test DECA and Tristolone, right, protocol, because that keeps the joints nice and lubricated. And then I can put like 8 to 10 plates on the leg press again, and 50 kilo dumbbell presses for shoulders, and 50 kilo overhead triceps extensions, the good old stuff that I used to do back in the day. Fingers crossed I don't tell myself apart. All right, let's get started with the Q&A. But first, let's get the disclaimer out of the way so we can actually answer some questions without getting myself into some sort of legal liability issue. All right. Here we are. Maurice Knox. Is there no membership only post anymore to ask questions in advance? So I don't really know when I want to do the Vigorous Q&A. So the last couple of times I decided like literally like 4 or 5 hours ahead of time. So you made the thumbnail and then you set up the live stream through StreamYard, and then it goes live 4 hours ahead of time. So today I think 12 o'clock when I woke up. I go to bed at 4. I know, crazy schedule. So I decided, you know what, I can do it today, but I totally forgot to post the post to ask in advance. But I don't know 3 or 4 days in advance because our schedule is kind of busy right now with the baby, and my wife wants to start going back into the gym again. So that means I have to be on baby duty and be 100% available, obviously, while she's at the gym, and her family members are not here to help out. So it's going to be sporadic, and it means I really don't know in advance when this Q&A is going to take place. But I'm trying to show up as many times as I can. At least to keep the channel going, because well, I've been slacking very, very hard on the educational content. So I'm doing the best I can with the limited time that I have. Let's see. Marius also asks, I developed mini varicose veins in my shin. AI says it might be from the growth hormone and other compounds. Yeah, sure. That's why we have real people and not AI. That AI knows a lot, but it doesn't know everything. Have you ever, or your clients ever experienced this? No. It took 2 to 6 I used the last 3 months. Test, Primo, Var, Mots-C, BPC, and TB-500. So varicose veins is impaired blood flow where the blood apparently doesn't travel through well, right? So it could come from angiogenesis, from consistent use of BPC-157 and TB-500, or something like cerebrolysin, or doing the assault bike, for example, or hyperbaric oxygen chambers. Anything that creates hypoxia through a workout, high rep leg workouts, which I thought it was going to work for me, but it didn't. Just depleted all my glycogen and made my legs smaller. So I'll probably have to go the injectable route if I want to do continuous angiogenesis to improve my legs, or I'm just getting old and I need to throw in the towel on that aspiration. But for you, since you were on 3 months BPC TB-500, I wouldn't say that that's too long. It could be that through perpetual angiogenesis, you got a varicose vein. But again, in the scientific evidence, it's nothing to support that, and neither is there for growth hormone. So you could stop these compounds and see if it doesn't get any worse, or you could continue the compounds to see if it gets any worse, and then you can pinpoint it on a BPC-157, TB-500, and growth hormone. So in your case, well, if you have varicose veins, there's surgery for that, unfortunately. And yeah, you could just not give a fuck, like so many people. And then, you're like, okay, this is part of my body. It looks a little bit freakishly horrendous, but there's other body parts which look freakishly beautiful. So hopefully I can balance it out and go through life without too many obstacles. Brad, when was the last time you used insulin? I still have a lot of Humalog left that Aaron gave me. So I think I used some insulin on the last bulk. Like I had like like a pen of Lantus that I got from Aaron when he went to the United States. So I threw in a little bit of Lantus here and there on high days. And then that ran out, and I have some Humalog. So I don't know, maybe next week, pre-cardio Humalog. Get that fat loss going. I'm trying to work through my stock. So I made myself a rule that this year I wasn't going to buy anything new unless I got it for free from one of the affiliates. But I still got a lot of stuff from Aaron, and I had a lot of old stuff. So I have a boatload of Test and Primo from the old batches before, Test and Primo become a little bit of a rare item due to the issues with the Chinese raw suppliers. So I'm stocked the fuck up, but I also have a boatload of Deca and Tristolone and testosterone, enanthate, propionate, whatever. So I'm just working through all of that. And I'm not going to buy anything new. But now that you mention it, yes, I have some Humalog laying around. And I might do that on leg day and before cardio. And then get that fat loss journey going. Oh, sorry to hear this, Joshua. Your father's funeral. Huh. Man, my condolences, dude. Good luck. He was 69. Fuck you, man. Josh, you can't make jokes like that, dude. Or was he really 69 years old? I don't know. With you, I don't know, man. With you, I don't know if this is a joke or not. Anyway, if your father really passed away, my sincere condolences. Good luck today. If you don't have any jokes, then or save it for the eulogy, because well, 69 years old means he had a lot of fun in life, and there's a joke in there somewhere, and you know it. You fucking know it. And if you got your sense of humor from your dad, then he deserves a good speech. That's for sure. Let's see. D-Brad, how much muscle growth can you expect through beta-2 agonism? Minimally. Muscle preservation you can expect. Because, when you use beta-2 agonists like Clenbuterol or albuterol, I think Clenbuterol was shown to be anabolic from about 40 micrograms onwards, and albuterol, this is in normal people with normal body weight, so you might need to take a little bit more. But of course, these people are not training, so you would have to take more based on your body weight, but also take less because you're actually training, sending an anabolic response that probably balances itself out. 40 micrograms Clenbuterol was shown to be anabolic, and 4 milligrams albuterol was shown to be anabolic. I discussed this in a Mirabicron deep dive, right? Everybody already knows about Clenbuterol or albuterol. We don't need a deep dive on that. Something like Clen, have you seen significant increases in strength and muscle size? No, not really. So you will preserve muscle tissue because you take these compounds, obviously in a caloric deficit. When you're trying to get lean, right? These are fat burners after all. So Mirabicron, I would say, is a poor anabolic, might send some anabolic signaling through the beta spillover, right, from a beta 3 into the beta 2 at higher dosages. But most guys don't read those higher dosages because I think up until 100 or 200 milligrams it was selective. Man, I have to watch my own deep dive now. I can't remember from Mirabicron. That's how bad of an anabolic it is that I don't remember it. So that's just purely a fat burner. And then Clenbuterol was shown to have some anabolic benefits, but of course it's been studied more. And Clenbuterol is actually used in feedlot efficiency or feedlot as an growth efficiency aid. So they use it for cattle. I think sheep and cows that they administer Clenbuterol. So in that case, it was shown to be anabolic. But you're not a cow or a sheep. Well, some of you guys are sheep. Some of you guys are cows, and some of you guys are pigs. Don't even try to deny it. I identify as a pig as well. I think I'm a pig on a Chinese calendar. Chinese calendar pig years. Let me double check that. Let me fact check that. Yeah, 1983. I'm a pig, so you're not alone, man. When I go to the hotel buffet, I'm a pig. Is it normal to have 15 beats per minute increase in resting heart rate from using 150 micrograms of semaglutide? Yeah, that's part of the game. It's very low amount, though. D-Brad. I think semaglutides, again, retatrutide was shown to have quite a significant increase in resting heart rate. I discussed this in the retatrutide deep dive, by the way, where all of these GLP-1 receptor agonists increase heart rate for a particular dose, and then I did a comparison for that. But I can't really remember how much semaglutide, and again, otherwise you go to the clinical trials and figure it out for yourself. These can all increase your resting heart rate, and doing daily fasted cardio, here we go again. Doing daily fasted cardio seems to mitigate that effect to a certain extent. And well, you're taking these drugs to improve fat loss, right? And an elevated resting heart rate improves fat loss. That's how Clenbuterol and albuterol and Mirabicron work, right? Mirabicron doesn't really increase your resting heart rate that much, but Clenbuterol does for sure. So part of the fat loss comes when you take Clenbuterol from an elevated resting heart rate, and the same from semaglutide or retatrutide or tirzepatide or dulaglutide or liraglutide. Right? A slight increase in the resting heart rate means more energy expenditure at rest, and part of the fat loss is coming from that, and the other part is coming from diet adherence, obviously, and caloric restriction. Desert Rider, cutting on 300 tests, 300 Primo, labs are great, but HDL's 26 on 25 milligrams Anavar pre-workout, and 12.5 milligrams on off days. Bump to 50 milligrams on lifting days and nothing on and off. That will lower your HDL because you're taking more steroids. So on Primo and Anavar, your HDL will never be normal. That's part of the game. On 300 tests, 300 Primo, your estradiol is probably 35, 40 picograms per milliliter, which is good enough for SHBG and HDL, but not preventative enough to prevent HDL and SHBG from coming down on a good stack of Primo and Anavar. So I would just stay the course, eat a good amount of healthy fats, and worry more about your LDL levels than your HDL levels, because having a low HDL is not as bad as having a high LDL, because it's the LDL foam cells that get stuck in the arteries and cause plaque. And a low HDL just means that there's either more lipase, or what is it called? Lipoprotein, what was it? Lipoprotein lipase activity? Hormone sensitive lipase? No, that's from growth hormone. Man, it's been a while. I'm rusty, dude. I'm fucking rusty. Oh, I haven't been on camera for a while. Anyway, the HDL is broken down in the, and I discussed this in the Soboterome video also. HDL is broken down in the liver. Steroids increase the amount of HDL that is being broken down in the liver, and thus your HDL levels go down. So by definition, you take more HDL, or you take more steroids, HDL is broken down faster, and thus in the bloodstream, you detect less. And because you produce more cholesterol in the liver, but also peripheral tissue, the rest of your body, the cholesterol transport through the LDL molecules from the liver to the other tissues needs to go up. But the LDL molecules are not broken down by the other tissue, absorbing the cholesterol and the triglycerides into the other tissues, because you're producing cholesterol in the other tissues. So the breakdown of LDL occurs less because there's so much cholesterol everywhere. That's why we take ezetimibe to promote cholesterol excretion and reduce cholesterol absorption from the diet. And this way, LDL molecules can come down because there's less cholesterol transport required. And then, you could say that HDL transport goes up because now the cholesterol from the peripheral tissues that's outside of the liver or around the liver, better explanation, increases because now it can actually be absorbed by the liver and then be excreted in stool. So technically, you would say that a combination of ezetimibe and Soboterome, which increases bile acid production, or ezetimibe and TUDCA, should promote more cholesterol excretion, and technically, on paper, should increase HDL levels and lower LDL levels. Again, that's based on biology. It's no scientific evidence to support that. So give it a try. But my HDL is usually pretty good, and I take both. Actually, I took Soboterome, TUDCA, and ezetimibe, and my HDL was about 40-50 on a cycle like this. So, of course, it's 3 ancillaries. But hey, the numbers on paper, you can rub your shoulder like I'm a little bit healthier than average. All right, let's see. Sarcastic Steve. Baseline IGF 150 to 170 nanograms per milliliter increased to 420 nanograms per milliliter, only by 2.5 IU's growth hormone tested by Janoschik. I understand IGF-1 doesn't always increase on HGH, but for those of us that it does, is there any benefit to a higher dose with an IGF-1 of 820? Goals lipolysis, skin elasticity, and recovery. So IGF-1 mostly helps with recovery, obviously, and the skin elasticity and lipolysis comes from actual growth hormone. So you can only produce so much IGF-1 because it has a negative feedback. Just like growth hormone and IGF-1 have a negative feedback on growth hormone secretion from the pituitary. Luckily, you can supplement with either or both. But if you have access to 2.5 IU's growth hormone, why don't you go to 3 or 4 for a while, see if that enhances your skin elasticity and lipolysis, assuming you're in a caloric deficit. Right? Growth hormone is not magic. It's probably the most expensive and the poorest fat burner you can take. It will start to get magic from 10 IU's onwards regarding fat loss. And even then, you need to be in a caloric deficit. Otherwise, you're just redistributing your body fat. So in this case, it could be that your IGF-1 maxes out at 500 nanograms per milliliter, which is great for recovery. And then if you want higher, then you would need to supplement with IGF-1 LR3 or Increlex, which is very expensive. So I would just slowly start ramping it up, see what the results are, and see where your IGF-1 tops out. I've seen people with an IGF-1 of 600 to 800 nanograms per milliliter. Some of those were natural. Sucks, but they're out there. They're just cranking out that IGF-1, man. They got that animalistic face, like the guy that plays Kratos or Teal'c in Stargate. One of those animalistic big faces over the years. There's probably high IGF-1 levels. So, the hypertrophy and hyperplasia is just continuous throughout life. Alvaro, what's up, bro? Do you like cigars from the Dominican Republic? Yeah. I can't name them by name, but, if they're good, they're good. If they're good, they're good. Do you even lift, bro? Thoughts on 5 milligrams Cialis combined with 20 milligrams Telmisartan for high blood pressure? Durable or should not mix at all? It's doable if you have some experience with Cialis and Telmisartan separately and check your blood pressure every time, with consecutive days to see how that changes. And then you start maybe with Cialis for a week, you check your blood pressure, see how that changes over the days. And then you switch to Telmisartan with 1 day in between because, well, Cialis and Telmisartan is what, 24-hour half-life, Cialis is 36. So Cialis you would want to stop for at least, let's say, a day or two before you start the Telmisartan. Then you check your blood pressure on Telmisartan, which both of them are very low dosages. And then if you want, you could combine them and see what happens, right? I've combined 40 milligrams Telmisartan with 5 milligrams Nabival and 10 milligrams Cialis, and I was fine. But I also eat a boatload of sodium. I mean, look at these cheeks. I mean, they're full with sodium. So, but I also live in a climate where you sweat buckets, so you need the sodium. Otherwise, you start cramping from, a good session in the gym where you drink 3 liters of water and sweat 6 liters of water out. Yeah, that's how fast it goes. So check your blood pressure and slowly start stacking stuff on top. I'm in the middle of writing a script on how to manage your blood pressure on TRT. I will explain everything, but when I will record, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let's see. Sap the B. Hey, Steve, can I use BPC, TB-500, GHK copper year-round indefinitely without coming off? Or is there any truth to the receptors being overburnt? Now, from the research that I've done, receptors from these compounds don't go overburnt. Most receptors don't go overburnt. It's just that people take too much of one compound and don't understand their synergy and then get themselves into a micronutrient deficit. So the receptors are still being produced, but the signaling is reduced. So in this case, you could run them for longer periods of time, but I'm assuming that you don't want angiogenesis continuously, right? Because that's very prolific for cancers, unless you check for cancers yourself by checking your cancer marker, doing a full body MRI, that kind of stuff, and then seeing how everything ends up. I would just use these compounds for as long as you need to recover from an injury. GHK copper, I hear people run year round, especially the elderly, for increased collagen synthesis and for their skin and their hair and their nails and their vanity and their insecurities and all that stuff. But TB-500, BPC-157, I would just use them for injuries. They're not cheap compounds. And, technically BPC-157 helps with growth hormone sensitivity in the connective tissue. So if you want to run something longer times, you're going through a training block where you're really increasing your strength and using test and nandrolone and deca and then, all these compounds that should make you stronger and help with collagen synthesis, but also protects your joints, then BPC-157 and growth hormone in that combination could be a good addition for that. But then again, I would only use that in the time that you're ramping up, and then you would take some time off. It's called a cycle after all. The only thing that we don't really cycle is testosterone, but everything else we cycle through. Make sure you watch the Tens of Steel, my brother. Joshua, were you making a joke or were you legit on what happened? I'm worried, man. Steve's got that cheesecake energy. Yeah. Gorilla Might sent me cases upon cases of Gorilla Might energy. And I told him, said, what are you doing, man? Just send me Respawn. Yeah, but Respawn is out of stock, so we're sending your Gorilla Might energy. So I got these cases, man. I got these cheeseburgers, man. So yeah, I drank like 2 of them today. So I'm wired as fuck. I am wired as fuck. Steve, what are the best hospitals in Bangkok for foreigners looking to get a BA in Thailand? BA. Breast augmentation. I would do that in a private clinic. Honestly, just send my wife. You go to my profile and you find my wife, Nan Fitness or something like that. Fuck, what is her profile? She keeps changing it all the time, so I can't stalk my own wife. Nan.active. And shoot her a message because she where she did her breast augmentation, it's It's a little bit cheaper than average, but so what they do is they go to a hospital, they rent it overnight, they rent the room, and then the surgeon, he instead of paying the regular hospital prices, you go a little bit through the back door, and then you pay for the silicone obviously, and the more silicones you get, the more you're going to spend. But I can't remember which hospital she did that in, and they usually work with several hospitals. Whatever operating room is available, they'll take their whole team in there, and then do the breast augmentation overnight. And for my wife, it looked, and she did two with the same doctor. It doesn't even look like she had a breast augmentation. And it was hilarious when she got super shredded every time on the show. And then all these women in the audience would say, "You know what I really like about your wife? Is she never got a breast augmentation." So, dude, you have no idea. Your wife's boobs are so beautiful. These are other women, the other competitors. Your wife's boobs are so beautiful. So do you want to come touch the silicone? They're 350 cc's. I said, really, it was a breast augmentation. The surgeon did a great job. It was all in the muscle though, not on top. So no upper chest or no chest workouts. And then recently she had it redone. So yeah, so shoot my wife a message, nan.active at Instagram, and then just say that I sent you, and then she'll reply with where she did it. And then you probably need some mediation for the language, but she did that for a lot of friends, so that's no issue. And you can literally do it anywhere here. So I would just, if you're not in Thailand yet, just shoot all these hospitals a message, see what they offer, see what the costs are, and just tell them specifically which brand or what kind of model you want, so you're well prepared, because apparently there's thousands of these different boobas that you can implant, just like cars and motorcycles and stuff. So if you want to do some shopping, make sure you ask the right questions, make a little bit of a list, and then see how much it's going to cost, and then give yourself 2 weeks to kind of recover from that. But at the zoos, I missed the last live stream because I was in Mexico and Steve went on a banning spree. Oh yeah, yeah, but I recognize your name, so I don't see a reason to ban you. Hey Steve, I have 30 milliliters of a custom blend, 1 milliliter per 1 milliliter Superdrol 10 milligrams, Dianabol 20 milligrams, Anadrol 30 milligrams, Testo Ester 10 milligrams, Tren Ester. Is this best saved for when I want to peak my physique, or is it worth including as part of a cycle? Well, the Dianabol automatically disqualifies this blend from using it as a peak, but you could try it, your 4 to 6% body fat, and see how it changes your physique. I would just use this as a pre-workout, for leg day or another day that you want to improve a body part, because 20 milligrams Dianabol per 1 cc, man, it's a lot of estrogen already, and Anadrol and Tren together, that's pretty potent. Man, Tren Ester is no joke, dude. So I would just do it as a cycle, maybe twice a week, and then I would do it maximum 6 weeks at the end, and keep your estrogen management in place, because injectable Dianabol, man, it aromatizes like crazy. Not as much as oral Dianabol, because I think that a good amount of Dianabol metabolizes into methyl estradiol in the intestinal tract, because there's already aromatase enzymes in the intestinal tract. So when you take oral steroids that aromatize, you get an addition of estradiol. But yeah, from what I've seen, injectable Dianabol, it still raises estradiol quite a bit. So keep that in mind. Thoughts on using melatonin 2 milligrams as an antioxidant? Yeah, go for it. Take it before bed and sleep like a baby. But it sounds like 2 milligrams is pretty low. The guys that really get the antioxidant benefits take 3 milligrams, 10 milligrams, maybe 100 milligrams. And just because you take melatonin doesn't mean you can now exclude the other antioxidants, like glutathione coming from N-acetylcysteine, or glycine N-acetylcysteine, right? It seems to produce a little bit more glutathione, Glynac, injectable glutathione, vitamin C, taurine, selenium. No, selenium is not an antioxidant, sorry. Estradiol is an antioxidant in some tissues. So make sure your antioxidant intake is high, and then you don't look old. You don't look like an ashtray. My dad had a massive sense of had a massive sense of humor. He would have loved that joke. His dad is coming to the funeral. All right. I still don't know if you're serious, dude. With your joking nature, Anyway, I know how you. I know you can take. I know you can take a joke. Daddy Steve, you were not lying about the Dr. Dean stack first week trying it on a cut, and it doesn't feel like one. Oh, it doesn't feel like you're cutting. Yeah, yeah. I'm working on a new protocol now. We're going to overrule Dr. Dean's stack with some new stuff. But give me a couple of weeks to trial it. It will be the Dr. Dean Plus stack. And for the sake of TRT Plus, we'll do the plus 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 plus. That's cumbersome as fuck. Michael Nance. I hope there's a question with that. I don't see it. No, I do not see it. All right, I'll keep my eye on it. Daddy Steve, are you partaking in the breast milk along with your baby? I might have tasted some, and I might have had some in my coffee, but honestly, it's not my cup of tea. It's not my cup of coffee, and I feel a little bit guilty. So I had maybe, yeah, enough for a cup of coffee, basically, and it was all right. That's all right. Interesting. I'm helping with the milking, though. You know what the best thing about this whole ordeal is? Like my wife is no longer wearing bras, and see she had the breast augmentation, and the hormones are flowing aplenty. I have like fucking boobas in my house the whole day. Can't focus, man. My wife is walking around. So normal, like with women in their 40s, their breasts start to sag a little bit, and the nipple goes down and stuff. And with her, because she's still fit, and she didn't really gain much fat during the pregnancy, and so her belly is like almost retracted already. And the breast augmentation, so it's like fucking sticking out, dude. And these nipples got fucking huge, obviously, for the breastfeeding. So the whole day I got like nipples floating around the house. Like, oh man. Yeah, tough life. I fucking love it though. I think my wife wears bra only when she goes out now, but inside the house it's just perky tits, perky nips all the time. Yeah, man. Best thing ever. Uh Guillerme Moraes. Is it safe to take retroglutide combined with Clen and T3? Well, if you want to increase your heart rate, that's the way to do it. Retroglutide is known to increase your resting heart rate. Clenbuterol, for sure, and even T3. So if you take, let's say, half a milligram retroglutide 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sub-Q, and 20 to 40 micrograms Clen and 25 micrograms T3, it's a great way to enhance your fat loss journey, obviously, and raise your resting heart rate perpetually throughout the day by maybe 10 to 20 points, and go catabolic if you don't eat enough protein, because T3 is non-discriminative, right? It will keep your metabolism going, and if you don't eat enough protein with retroglutide blunting your appetite, the clenbuterol is not anabolic enough to offset the catabolic effects of a low dose of thyroid replacement, or if you go ham, which I never recommend, over 25 micrograms per day. So if you go to a higher dose of retroglutide, 80 micrograms of Clen and 50 micrograms T3, oh man, your heart is like it's like a fucking drum and bass game. Because of you megadosing the retroglutide, Clen and T3, that's why Tomorrowland burned down. Right? So much heat, so much drum and bass. Tomorrowland burned down. That's your fault. The main stage. Actually, I believe that they rebuilt it in like 36 hours or something. Anyway, off topic. Yes, you can take it. Is it safe? You're taking drugs that are not meant for these purposes. So, nothing is safe. So you have risk versus reward, and the reward is fat loss, and the risk is, well, perpetually elevated heart rate and potentially catabolism. So make sure your training and diet is on point. High triglycerides, 3 moles. Fuck, it's the wrong range. Quite lean, normal fasting glucose, low Accutane. Should I be worried? I can't remember, man. Off the top of my head, on this millimole range. Fuck, I don't know, dude. That's why I always ask for the ranges, but you guys are so fucking lazy. Triglycerides. 3, what was it? 2.9. Convert. All right, that's pretty fucking high. Normal fasting blood glucose, low carb diet, Accutane 30 milligrams per day. I don't think that the Accutane is doing the high triglyceride. So it sounds like you're either testing this after a meal or you're not doing enough activity. It sounds like you're testing this after a meal, man. This is very high. Start injecting some carnitine and include the ranges the next time. Best anabolic nootropic stack for 100 meter sprinter. I would not use any anabolics because you'll gas out at meter 10. So I would use alpha GPC, myonosyl tripyr phosphate, and erythropoietin. That's what I would use. Yeah, but you're Indian, so you probably don't know how to dose that stuff. No offense, but drug use is not your strongest point. I would play it safe. Take some orals, take some oral data, take some oral ITPP, and take some oral alpha GPC, and leave it at that. Leave it at that. Because, yeah, drug education over there is, I don't think it's a good idea if I do it for you. Do yourself a favor, watch the Unlimited Endurance video. I discuss everything there. Data, ITPP, and alpha GPC. Good luck. Ronaldo wanted to share. Quest Diagnostics have a sale going on. I got the expanded min hormones. Go get your blood work. Yeah, do it over at Merrick Health. One of the sponsors. You know? But yeah, if you want to go to Quest and save yourself 20%, fuck, by all means, go for it, dude. Do a full lab panel so you can reinvest that 20% into your health. Kyle O'Hearn, trainer is pushing me to do a cycle of Primo, Masteron test, and VAR. Would this be a waste of compounds running the Mast and Primo at the same time? No, they're different compounds, so might as well do it. If your trainer feels that he can't get results with you with no Primo, Masteron, testosterone, and Anavar, that's what a lot of these trainers do, right? They can't really get results with their clients, so they sell them the drugs, so they make a little bit extra money on the drugs, and then they get results with the clients because the client is now on drugs. Yeah, that's your trainer for you. He's trying to upsell you. He's trying to upsell you. He just admitted to you that he's a shit trainer. He can't get you results without the drugs. If you want to ask your trainer, like, hey, bro, we've been at it for 6 months. I made good progress. My bench went up. You know, I'm twice as strong on my bench, on my squat, and my deadlift. I really got this technique down. Well, what do you think about TRT? Sure. Sure, bro. Let him teach you. Let him provide you, a little bit of testosterone, Cialis, and Arimidex. But if a trainer is pushing you to take steroids, he automatically disqualifies himself as a trainer because he should just do his fucking job and teach you how to train properly and teach you how to diet properly. And then with the diet and the training, you should get results. You don't need Primo, Masteron, Test, and Anavar unless you've been cycling all your life. But based on your picture, I would say that you're pretty new to this. So would it be a waste of compounds to run Masteron and Primo at the same time? No, if you do 300 Primo, 300 Masteron, you get a nice synergistic effect. I mean, and a little bit of Anavar, a little bit of Test. Go for it. Check your estradiol levels so they don't crash too much. Rise41, thank you for all the inspiration and info that you put out. Start a new podcast series with Big Paul about success, entrepreneurship, and achievement. Hope you check it out sometimes. Thanks for all that you do. Is that on this channel? Rise41 Success in Biohacking? Let me have a look. I love talking about entrepreneurship. Rise41. What is it called? Success. All right. Subscribed. I'll have a look over this week. You're having the wrong guests on, man. You're having the wrong guests on. Just saying. Blearoid, super sticker. All right. And we got a super sticker earlier on. Oh, here. Here it is. Vigorous Steve, currently running 200 tests, 100 Primo, 150 milligrams Boldenone, 50 milligrams nandrolone split between 2 sub-Q shots weekly, and 3 I use growth hormone every other day. Is this an ineffective way to use 500 milligrams? No, I mean, it's 500 milligrams is 500 milligrams, man. You can mix it up any way you like, and if you feel that this is giving you the best results, then go for it. But 200 tests or 250 milligrams aromatizing compounds with 250 milligrams aromatase inhibiting compounds will give you good estradiol levels, but it might shift the needle more towards lower estradiol levels because 200 tests and 50 milligrams of nandrolone doesn't aromatize that much. And Primo and Boldenone and then some of its metabolites can suppress estradiol quite a bit. And then you're wondering, like, why the hell am I using nandrolone for joint lubrication when that's not really what I'm getting? So, excuse me. Man. Growth hormone every other day. I mean, just give it a try. 500 milligrams is 500 milligrams. It starts to matter when you start dosing compounds a little bit higher than this. But I would be fine with it, man. I've done similar cycles of 200 tests and then 200 Primo and what was it, 25 milligrams Trenbolone, something like that. And I got the best out of everything. With 50 milligrams of nandrolone might not be enough to get the joint lubricating effects. And then, 100 milligrams of Primo, how much is that cosmetically going to add on top of the Boldenone? I don't know. Give it a try. Run it for a couple months and then bump up the dosages if needed, man. Matthew Gregg, hey coach, if you add bacteriostatic water to recombinant growth hormone to make it easy to dose, recombinant HCG to make it easy to dose, how long will it stay good in the fridge? Assuming it says good longer than urine purified. So you want to dilute the recombinant HCG with bacteriostatic water. I would say it would stay good after you mix it in a sterile vial, probably 2 weeks. Yeah, I would say 2 weeks. Now with urine purified, I would say bacteriostatic water also almost 2 weeks, but urine purified is lyophilized and doesn't come with its own sterility solution, whereas recombinant HCG, Merck Ovitrel, already comes in a solution that ensures the sterility, so it might stay sterile longer. But again, every time you pierce the vial, you risk contaminants and bacteria or whatever getting into the vial, and it just reduces the shelf life. So 1 week to play it safe, 2 weeks stretching it, but it's still better than using sterile water or normal saline solution to dilute these compounds with. Joe Higgins, hey Steve, I've been using injectable SLU and methylene blue for my contest prep. Will 1 milligram Mots-C daily be effective? Trying to spread the dose for cost efficiency. Yeah, will make a huge difference in your energy levels. Will it make a difference in fat loss? Maybe. But if you have more energy, you can do cardio easier and work out harder. And that means that you're going to be harder, denser, and leaner from the increased energy that you have during the workout and cardio sessions. So I would 100% add that in and reap all the benefits out of it. I mean, I'm using Mots-C right now, and I fucking love it. Yeah, I was off it for 6 months, but never again. Never again, bro. Mots-C forever. Hey, Steve, is there an at-home finger prick blood test as accurate as a venous blood draw when it comes to checking hormone levels? I'm considering doing an at-home test for convenience. I never really looked into those. The problem is with at-home finger prick testing, of course, you clean your fingers, right? They take the hormone, and then you have to send it by post. So the time between taking the sample and arriving in the lab is significantly longer than drawing IV and then sending it straight to the lab and getting the results in an hour. I mean, here in Thailand, when I go to Bria Labs, I get the results in an hour, dude, for most of the hormone tests. Some of the stuff they have to send outside takes a couple days, right? And those I feel are less sensitive than the ones that they do in-house simply because of the postage. And then it goes through temperature fluctuations, and you don't know if there's something in the blood that would actively break down this compound or metabolize it, in some different direction, right? So I would say that it's less accurate, but how much less accurate? Is it negligible? Is it 20%, 25%? I'm not entirely sure. Give them a call. Give these companies a call and ask them that you're worried about the delivery time. And if they say, no, it's 99% accurate, then give it a try. And otherwise, you do a venous blood draw and a finger prick test. You send it out, to different labs and see what the different results are. And if they're the same, then it's good. And if it's not, if the finger prick test is like 25% lower, then something is something is being lost in the meal, basically. Thumbs up from Mukdahan. Jesus Christ. So the last time, Mukdahan is a border city in Thailand. The last time I went to Mukdahan was to cross the border into Sihanoukville to do a visa run. We're talking about 10 years ago. So I took the night bus to Mukdahan. Then you arrive there. And then you cross the border into Sihanoukville to do the visa application, stay there one night, and then go back. And then take the night bus back, right? And this is 10 years ago. So this is fucking funny. I arrived back into Mukdahan, and then there's a gym at the bus station. I'm like, fuck, let's have a look, And I come in there, and there's about a lot of bodybuilders, which were all competing at the Mr. Thailand. So they're like, hey, come in, do a workout with us. They'll take pictures and stuff. They wanted to take me out to dinner, but I already got, the bus ticket, the nighttime bus back to Bangkok. So, yeah, I didn't stay there, but that's what I remember of Mukdahan. Very small city next to the border, very sleepy. But even in Mukdahan, I got fans, foreigners and Thais, it seems. Gear to run if your kidneys are shit, beside test. Well, if your kidneys are shit, I would not take any chances, dude. I would keep your blood pressure in range, take some astragalus root extract, and TRT, that's it. Okay, so we just answered this one. I think you'll get results, man. If I suffer from insomnia due to being in a chronic dopaminergic state, would an SSRI be worth it? I'm not sure how that would help. I'm not sure how that would help, honestly. If you're in a chronic dopaminergic state, look into dopamine depletion. And an SSRI would, I don't know, that's a whole different pathway. Guys, I'm not super familiar with the dopaminergic and serotonergic system, so I'm going to have to take a pass on this. All right, so Joshua's serious. It's 30 minutes until his funeral begins. You go make amends, man. You shouldn't be here. And again, my condolences. Just be there for your family and make the most of it. And crack a couple jokes, because you're very, very good at that, to lighten the mood, not only for yourself, but for everybody around you. So Joshua, best of luck today. And don't hang around here too much, okay? Because I'm sure your family would appreciate your time. All right. Hey, Steve, does HCG have any benefits for people with healthy testosterone levels? In my case, 671 nanograms per deciliter. If you want it higher, you do HCG monotherapy. Your testicles are clearly working, but 671 nanograms per deciliter is not that high, not that great. So if you want to bump it up, you go to 1,000 or 1,200 nanograms per deciliter. HCG can help with that. 250 IUs 3 times a week, 500 IUs 3 times a week, 1,000 IUs 3 times a week. Start low, build your way up, and then see what happens. Now, the longer you run HCG monotherapy, the more you will require post-cycle therapy, because HCG will replace the luteinizing hormone signaling. And obviously, since testosterone and estradiol levels go up, the LH and FSH signaling just kind of shuts down, just like it would with testosterone replacement therapy, because in cases of HCG monotherapy and TRT, your testosterone levels are far higher than baseline, depending on how much your testicles can produce. Obviously, TRT sky's the limit, right? The more tests you inject, the higher your testosterone levels are going to get. And with HCG, there's diminishing returns. At one point, you just start to produce more estrogen. I have a deep dive on this. Give that one a watch if you're thinking about HCG monotherapy. And I have a video about HCG monotherapy too. Separate one. Holy moly. I have videos and everything you guys ask about, but I know it's easier to just super chat me. That's fine. I'll take your money. So yeah, could you have a benefit out of it? More semen production, more testosterone levels, bigger balls. If you're knocking from the back alley or from the back, then it's, instead of just a small knock, it's like, you know what I mean, right? It's like literally, bull testicles. That's what you're getting. A lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of fun. With some momentum in it, some weight. I remember those days when it was an HCG monotherapy, Oh yeah, good times. I stopped it because, well, I have kids now, so no need. And my libido is always good because I have a hot wife. Hell yes. Give it a try, man. Watch those videos first, give it a try. And then if you do that for 2 years, then you might need to do a PCT if you want to stop injecting HCG, or you need a TRT because well, LH and FSH signaling has been shut down for such a long time. Because you're basically taking your hormonal state into your own hands, and that means that your pituitary is going to say, "Fuck you, bro. Fuck you. No more LH and FSH for you, bro." Anthony Nelson, 475 milligrams testosterone, 300 EQ, 100 milligrams DECA, 50 MPP. Why are you splitting the DECA and the MPP, man? 35 milligrams of Tren. Man, 400 IOs HCG 3 times per week. Is that doing anything on 3 different nandrolone derivatives? Well, it's two different ones, but 2 different esters for the nandrolone, right? How long before my blood test do I need to drop the test to 210 so my total T reflects only 210 milligrams? So he's running a cycle and he wants to know how long is it going to take for his total testosterone to look normal again. When should I reduce the EQ in relation to the test? I would say 5 months. Because you don't know how sensitive these tests are, right? If you're doing high sensitivity testosterone testing, so that's liquid chromatography, tandem mass spectrometry, then I would say you drop your test now and 4 weeks later, it wouldn't detect the EQ, it wouldn't detect the DECA, it wouldn't detect the nandrolone, and it wouldn't detect the trembolone. The trembolone might detect the estradiol, though. So make sure you do sensitive testing of estradiol as well, not to alarm your prescribing physician. I would say 4 weeks, 5 weeks for 475 of tests to drop down to 210, or you can just take it out completely and then do in-house out of pocket somewhere, or do out of pocket somewhere just a week before you go in for blood, just to confirm that you're on the right track. And otherwise, if they have non-sensitive testing with a long half-life and the detectability of the, the metabolites, I would say 5 months, which is a long time. So basically, by the time you go to the clinic again, all your blood work parameters after 5 months on a cycle like this should look good again. And then, you go there, you do your blood work, the doctor reads it out you, HDL normal, LDL normal, total cholesterol normal, liver enzymes in range, hematocrit normal. And you're like, time to blast again. So you're basically coming into the office at the end of your cruise. Yeah, and when should you reduce EQ? You can reduce EQ at the same time that you're reducing your testosterone because EQ or removing the DECA, but it's 475 test and 150 nandrolone. That's significantly higher amount, plus the HCG on top. That's a significantly higher amount than the EQ that you're taking. That's like a 2-to-1 ratio. Plus the HCG, I think your estradiol levels are kind of high. I don't know, unless you're very low body fat levels and you're a low aromatizer. Then it should be okay. But I think you do your blood work, so you tell us. Yeah, 4 weeks on sensitive testing, and 4 months, 5 months on non-sensitive testing. Kyle. Where's your question? Oh, here. Growth hormone combined with MK677. I'm trying to increase my hunger. I've been on 6 years of growth hormone for 1 year. Yeah, you can. You'll be very watery, and you might have diminishing returns of the growth hormone that you're taking, because MK677 can only boost growth hormone production so much, unless you're purely going after the ghrelin activation. And then there's other methods for that. You have a GHK-Cu, for example. You can kind of control your injection around the time that you're hungry. So maybe you only need to be hungry in the evening. Okay, you do 1 shot of GHK-Cu, 200 micrograms, 300 micrograms. You ride out the hunger the last couple of meals of the day, and then you call it quits, and then you might be off a little bit cheaper, and you don't create this potential problem for chronic insulin sensitivity because or chronic insulin resistance, because with MK677, due to its long half-life, you have chronic growth hormone secretion that increases these free-form fatty acids in the bloodstream, and that is what blunts the insulin response, right? So that's why we like to take growth hormone in single shot now before bed, 6 IUs before bed, and then you don't have any of these insulin resistance issue. Whereas if you take MK677, you have constant growth hormone secretion, constant free-form fatty acids in the bloodstream, and constant inhibition of insulin signaling, leading to insulin resistance, especially if you're doing this during the off-season and your hunger is already not great. So in your case, I would rather do growth hormone and insulin and low-dose thyroid medication to increase your hunger, which I describe in the Bioidentical Hormones off-season cycle ebook, which is on permanent discount. So it's what, like $18, $25. And then the insulin and the T3 obviously will help to modulate your blood glucose levels, keeping you insulin sensitive. You know, so I would rather look into that. Now you look like a big boy. I think it's time for insulin, bro. Cheaper too. No, maybe not cheaper, but it's more anabolic than MK677. That's for sure. Can I take methylene blue if I'm on 200 milligrams of modafinil? Yes, but there might be some dopaminergic and serotonergic overlap, right? Modafinil is a dopaminergic and serotonergic compound. Can raise it quite well, quite high in some individuals, especially on 200 milligrams. Now, will you get full-blown serotonin syndrome? I don't think so, but you might feel a little bit weird. So what you can do is take a low-dose methylene blue and a low-dose modafinil. And I took modafinil like 50 milligrams per day for years. And then recently, I just can't take, it just gives me a headache. That probably fried my brain. But then again, I take fluvoxamine also. And if I combine modafinil with fluvoxamine, which I did in the past, there's some serotonergic overlap there as well. So I think you're less at risk taking 3 to 10 milligrams methylene blue and 50 milligrams to 100 milligrams modafinil than taking higher dosages of each. So I know, start low, build your way up. And at the first sign of trouble, discontinue the one that you like the least, because both have their place. My ferritin levels is high, 600 nanograms per milliliter on a range from 40 to 400 nanograms per milliliter. Currently on test and EQ, is there anything to be concerned about? Well, it depends on your iron levels and your other inflammatory markers, because ferritin obviously transports iron around. But if ferritin is high and iron is low, then it's not the iron that's the issue, it's inflammation. In which case, homocysteine could be elevated, C-reactive protein could be elevated, white blood cell count differential could be skewed, the white blood cells could be either very, very high or very, very low. And if you have high ferritin levels and low iron levels, that's an indication of chronic inflammation, because ferritin is a marker of inflammation, and in chronic inflammatory states, your body depletes iron. So, tell us more. You know, because with this, we can't really do anything. Dylan says, hope the fam is doing well, Steve. I train full intensity 0 reps in reserve. Is it normal to need a short deload every 6 to 8 weeks in the off season if it helps progression? Yes, 100% normal. You're frying your central nervous system. Take that deload, man. Schedule it in after 6 weeks. Because I used to train like that, balls to the wall, more sets than I should have been doing, but I just fucking love to train like that. So fuck it. Why did not? You know, you're there in the gym. You're like, you know what? I can squeeze in another set. You know, and I got pretty big, pretty strong that way. And then after 6 weeks, you just want to lay on the couch. So you lay on the couch, you fill back out again, you restore your central nervous system, and then it's another 6 weeks of raping and pillaging in the gym. Fucking love it, man. Yeah, and when you're sub 35, you can get away with it. And when you're over 35, or like you've been training for 20 years straight doing like that, then you probably, you know, need to take it easy a little bit more. So, yeah, just schedule it in, because I know myself that, you know, training like this after 6 weeks, you're like, I can squeeze it another week. I can squeeze it another week. And then at week 8 or 9, you're completely fucked, and then you need longer than a week of a deload. After a week of no rest, you're like, oh man, I'm still not ready to go to the gym. You know, you're sitting at home shaking like that because your cholinergic system is still not recovered. Let's see. I heard Kurt hint that Tren and Anavar work synergistically, but he didn't expand. Yes, he did. He did many times. What are you talking about? He explained it in the 3 different podcasts. How they enhance each other. So there's non-genomic effects from the Anavar, and there's there's 2 classifications of steroids. right? So Trenbolone is a class 1 and Anadrol's type 2, basically, who, depending on how they interact with the receptors and if they have any secondary benefits. So Trenbolone, I believe, purely interacts with the androgen receptor, and then Anadrol has some non-genomic, some non-androgen receptor mediated effects. And in this way, they have a synergy, because you can't get everything from Trenbolone and you can't get everything from Anadrol. But if you stack them together, you get this full monty of synergistic effects. And but yeah, Kurt explained a little bit better, and I haven't really looked more into it, because a lot of the information that Kurt has access to through some of these study books that he has, you can't find in the publications, unfortunately. So just we can discuss it on the next Anabolic Roundtable. We're recording next Wednesday. I actually wanted to do a ancillary tier list. So which are the best blood pressure medications, for example, or best compounds for blood pressure? Which are the best methods for what is it, lipid control, right? So something like that. So you have a couple different tier lists, but I can throw it in the mix. But we definitely discussed this at length, dude. I just don't remember. Hey, Steve, was cutting on 500 tests, 300 EQ, 70 milligrams Anadrol per day, or Anadrol per week, so that's 25 milligrams 3 times a week, I'm assuming. Daily ephedrine, caffeine, and yohimbine stack, or 0.5 milliliters Helios, 0.75 milligrams semaglutides per week, or a couple times a week. Any reason I'm getting bitter fat loss on 85, 85, 50? Being so lazy and eating more, less cortisol. 85, 85, 50. I know, you're taking a boatload of fat burners. So, what the fuck does 85, 85, 50 mean? 85% carbs, 85% protein, and 50% fat? Or 85, I don't know what you mean, dude. 85, 85, 50. I don't know, Gibson. You're talking gibberish. Adrian. No, dude, it's fucking 69 Singaporean dollars. What happened in the currency conversion over there? I know you wanted to send 69. What's up, Adrian? Hope you're doing well. Man, I'm saving that Primo for when it's time, when I'm lean enough. Let's see. On 200 tests, 400 Masteron, 300 Primo. Primo keeping me vascular and full as fuck. Masteron keeping my chest striations even on 207 pounds of body weight. I'm assuming. Love this compound. Not a question. Just sharing. All right. Don't forget to check your estradiol levels. Might be a little bit low. All right. But if your libido is still good, then all is good. Thank you, Steve, for all of your content. I really helped me a long way. Lots of mistakes, blood tests, but every time I had a question, Steve had the answer. Props from Quebec, Canada. All right. $10 for the food fund tomorrow. Yes. It's one cheesecake earned today. Accidentally purchased 400 IUs of pre-constituted growth hormone instead of lyophilized powder. Understand, constituted growth hormone is usually good for a month in the fridge after opening. Yeah, after opening. Should I run 12 IUs a day? Is it 400 IUs in one pen? Or is it 100 IUs in 4 pens? Because that makes a bit of a difference. So look at the box. They have an expiration date. As long as you don't open it, the expiration date will be met at least, and you could allegedly keep it in the fridge far longer after the expiration date if you keep them untouched, unopened, no problem. Now, 400 IUs in a single pen, probably a typo over there in China where you're getting it, because there's no pharmaceutical growth hormone in liquid pre-constituted that goes up to 400 IUs. I think 72 IUs is the highest for Eumetrope. So, yeah. And otherwise, 400 IUs divided by 30. Yeah, that's indeed 13 IUs. Well, make the most of it, bro. Enjoy the carpal tunnel. Hey, Steve, is injectable L-carnitine reconstituted with 0.9% benzoyl alcohol safe to take daily? Yes, that's what most formulations are. So I've been taking injectable L-carnitine with a small amount of benzoyl alcohol for years, and I'm still around. Your Increlex dose, and how much did it raise IGF-1? I did 1 to 2 milligrams, and I think my IGF-1 ended up around 4 to 500 nanograms per milliliter. Yeah, but I'll reintroduce that soon, because I still have like 8 boxes in the fridge that expire in September, and that's coming around soon. Might as well use it. Hey Steve, should we measure 17 OH? What is it? Hydroxyprogesterone to titrate HCG dosages. When would be the best time to draw? I have no idea. This is beyond me. I go by testosterone and estradiol levels. Sounds like you're overcomplicating it. How would the Dr. Dean mitochondrial stack with Reta be more beneficial compared to Reta with the ECA stack for fat loss? Well, you feel a lot better on the mitochondrial support stack. You have a lot more energy, and your resting heart rate would be significantly lower, which obviously should be better for your heart in the long run. Right? And if you're stacking this with a buttload of steroids, which can also cause cardiac hypertrophy, then in one context with the ECA stack, you're constantly stimulating the heart with steroids and ephedrine and caffeine to kind of raise your heart rate and erythropoiesis also, and thus you have a likely or a higher likelihood of creating cardiac hypertrophy or heart enlargement than on a mitochondrial support stack, which actually improves mitochondrial function in the heart and thus keeps your heart rate in range. And maybe that's why in erythropoiesis I don't see so much of an elevated heart rate, besides the daily facet cardio that I do. I'm also on a mitochondrial support stack when I run erythropoiesis, and that's good for the heart. So there's an old way and a new way. I would go with the new way. Yeah. We'll make these stupid old protocols obsolete. And again, they weren't stupid in the past because that was all that was available, but now we have so many more options, and I would go with the better options. Patrick, is testosterone propionate inherently drier? No. It's so exhausting. So I'll just explain it quickly. People inject enanthate and cypionate twice a week, which leads to more aromatization, whereas propionate they inject 3 times a week, every other day or every day, resulting in more stable serum concentrations, leading to less aromatization. If you inject enanthate or cypionate every single day sub-Q, compared to testosterone propionate every single day sub-Q, you'll get more stable levels with enanthate or cypionate if the injection route is exactly the same. Enanthate cypionate will give you more stable concentrations because they absorb slower and they metabolize slower, so you get more of a stable level than propionate, which will still fluctuate. And in these peaks, the testosterone coming from the testosterone propionate will metabolize more into estradiol than in these zero peaks of enanthate or cypionate. So injection frequency matters, not the ester. Injection frequency, guys. That's why I do everything sub-Q or intramuscular daily. Steve, thanks for sharing about fasted cardio. Systolic blood pressure down 5 points and lost 10 pounds of fat in 1 month. Here, there you go. Keith listened, didn't complain, did the daily fasted cardio, and his life improved. So it's not fucking rocket science. Joshua Perry, you still here, bro? Best liver detox for gamma GTT, 56, 100 AST, 50 LT, started NAC, 8 to 9 milligrams daily, and melatonin, 20 milligrams nightly. I would say that the NAC will bring your gamma GT down. 500 milligrams of injectable glutathione will bring it down also. And then caffeine, what is it? Carnitine and glutathione will bring that down. Obviously, NAC will convert into glutathione, but you can also inject glutathione. Right? Gamma GT is basically a metabolic waste product coming from the cell membrane when there's not enough glutathione peroxidase activity. Don't quote me on this, but it's a marker of oxidative stress basically in the liver. So if you increase your antioxidants, you increase your glutathione intake, whether that's from NAC or Glynac or SAMe or this is another one. Well, you have these oral glutathione formulations, right? But whatever route you go with, that will bring your gamma GT down. And then the TUDCA will help with your liver enzymes, bringing that down by half. And taking a week off from the gym will also bring your liver enzymes down. So melatonin will be a good addition, but it's not really known for improving liver health markers that much, from what I remember researching. 85T. Oh, God. I have to go back, right? Where's your fucking question? No, I can't find it, dude. Too bad. Yeah, I aromatized like crazy on 300 test, 300 Mastron, and 300 what? Primo. My estradiol was 377 picomoles per liter. Yeah, so make some adjustments, bro. And again, 300, is that really 300 Primo or another 300 milligrams testosterone propionate? You got to be careful what you buy nowadays, man. There's a lot of fake Primo, a lot of fake Mastron going around due to the shortage of raws in China. Be careful. Oh, I got his Primo tested by Januszek. Well, maybe your Mastron is not real. But even on TRT, his estrogen is high, getting gyno surgery in November. Okay, so throw in an aromatase inhibitor and get the estradiol down, man. September 17th, I go from manual labor to school for biochemistry. How should my training change? Doing MMA and trying to grow. 250 tests working well still. Manual labor. You don't have to do anything because you're going to school. So you're saving all of those calories that you were using for manual labor for training. So keep training the same way and you will grow automatically. You will grow automatically because you have less activity. So keep the training, keep the diet the same, and once that stops working, a couple of weeks to months from now, then you can make a change. And then you eat more foods and train a little bit harder because it's school for biochemistry, you're standing or sitting on your ass. So you go from a caloric intensive state to a caloric preservative state, but you're still going to the gym and doing MMA and trying to grow muscle tissue, which means all of the calories you were using for manual labor are now being used to grow muscle tissue and get stronger and grip and grapple a little bit harder. So don't change anything. Let nature play its part. Does your mitochondrial support stack help me in a 100-meter sprint? Yes, absolutely, because it will increase explosive power. So that's something you can try. You can try SLU-PP-332, Mots-C, SS-31, but I think DADA, ITTP, and alpha GPC will make a bigger difference because it's such a short. We're talking about a 10 to 12 second activity, right? So I would rather look into explosive power and ATP recycling than actual mitochondrial support. But it starts throwing stuff in it one by one and see what works and see what doesn't. And again, I haven't really talked to so much explosive, strength or endurance athletes, or in your case, it's like explosive endurance that have run these mitochondrial support stacks because I don't really do consultations with those people anymore. So it's something you can look into. But again, I discuss all of this in the endurance deep dives and the latest how to get the best fucking stamina or best fucking endurance videos. So have a look at those videos and start stacking stuff together and see how much of a difference it makes. Brandon, how much EQ do you think would be needed to manage not a drop? I have to decipher this one. So if you're running 150 milligrams testosterone per day, and I'm assuming you're asking about estradiol, then you would need 150 milligrams EQ per day to kind of keep that in a range. A 1-to-1 ratio is usually playing it safe. You do your blood work 4 to 6 weeks into that protocol and then make the adjustment, right? If your estradiol is low, you reduce the EQ and increase your testosterone, same weekly intake of 2,000 milligrams steroids. And if your estradiol is too high, then you drop your testosterone and increase your EQ for the same amount of weekly intake of 2,000 milligrams steroids over the week. How much risk to the kidneys is 1,000 milligrams of EQ? There's nothing in the scientific evidence that would tell you, but you have 2 1-hour deep dives to kind of read. And in both of those deep dives, I explained that the research that has been performed on EQ is very lackluster regarding kidney toxicity, but there's a good amount of scientific evidence which shows that EQ is kidney toxic in both humans and animal models. Now, did they check their serum estradiol levels? Did they provide antioxidant levels? Did they check their blood pressure? Did they check the carrier oils? No, they didn't. But I address all of that in those two deep dives. So give those two a watch if you're worried, and then make that decision for yourself. I personally, I don't see a reason to run EQ. There's much better compounds out there. Just run Primo and Mastron and Nandrolone or Tren. And but then again, Tren, there's no human subjects studies. So, you're running a risk there. Yeah, then again, I've never seen anybody get kidney issues from Primo or from EQ. It could be over decades. Let's see. Thank you for the info as always. Sorry for the gibberish. Hey guys, just make sure that I can read out these questions because sometimes it just doesn't make sense. I'm on tirzepatide down, lost 60 to 70 pounds, never used gear. Or would you combine any oral steroid for recomp to build muscle and avoid loose skin? No, I think you should look into TRT. Don't be a faggot. We've discussed this so many times. I'm not trying to put down homosexuals. It's just an easy swear word to use. So don't be a pussy. And then people get offended by that. All the cats are getting offended. So if you want to use steroids, use an injectable steroid, testosterone. We're not going to use any oral steroids and no testosterone based and run into all kinds of issues. And if you're already injecting tirzepatide, then you can also inject testosterone. So, and if you want to avoid loose skin, then lose fat faster. Do some running. Look into GHK copper. Steroids are not going to do anything for loose skin. So, look into TRT. That's a place to start. This is true. After watching your megadosing melatonin experiment, I've gone up to 200 milligrams per day myself and still not feeling drowsy during the day, which is quite unexpected, but I'm on Tren. robbing your local liquor store is not normal, but on Tren it is. Hey, man, dude, maybe we should try this experiment again with a full mitochondrial support stack. Right, 100 milligrams melatonin, and then Mots-C, SS-31, SLU, methylene blue, and then everything else that is giving me a boatload of energy. And then maybe I don't get as drowsy as I did last time. But if I do it, I wouldn't do it every day. And last time, like a couple of weeks ago, I took like 20 milligrams melatonin because I couldn't sleep. And then my whole Sunday was fucked, dude. I felt like an old man. Ugh. Steve, what aged you the most for the past decade? It's probably dealing with questions. Probably dealing with questions that I have videos about, and the repetitive questions. If something ages you, it's time. So, you know. Dude, pay up or never answer your question. Yeah, there's too many super chats going on. Tickets booked for Bangkok in January. Need to bring you anything from the land of the woke. Snow. Bring me some snowflakes. Just put it in a jar with an ice pack so I can show my daughter what snow looks like. Good, man. Good to hear that you're coming back, bro. No more cruises. Yeah, no more cruises for you. So come back to. Are you bringing anybody? Family, girlfriend, kids? Good to see you again, man. It's been what, 2 years, 3 years that you were here. I'll see you soon. We'll stay in touch on IG. But yes, snow would be cool. Where should I get a good primer on interpreting female bloods? Just wanted a good rundown of biomarkers before I jump into research paper spelunking. I would always defer to Victoria Felkar, who is probably the smartest female educator in our space. Just very not very present on social media, but she's always available for consultations. So maybe shoot her an email. Victoria Felkar is her Instagram. Shoot her an email. I want to do, these blood work markers. I want to take these drugs. Any recommendations? And then schedule a call with her, and she'll send you whatever markers you need to test. And then you don't need to do any spelunking. She can tell you right off because, again, if anybody knows a lot about the subject, then it's, her. How much are you using AI like ChatGPT these days, and how? So I have Perplexity, right? Then I got a Grok and ChatGPT and a couple other models that you can do research with. I got the $20 option per month, not the $200 option per month. And then I use that for a lot of scripts and research because it just, instead of going through the papers one by one, which I used to do, like for many of the deep dives that I used to do, you go to PubMed, load everything, and then one by one I would go through them, right? And it's very time consuming, bro. So what I do now is just I query smartly, and then I let ChatGPT, get me the studies, and then I'll make my own interpretation of the study. So it's more of an entry into the rabbit hole, and then I'll do additional research until I feel that the research that I want to do is complete. And AI helps a good amount with that, but the interpretations of AI I don't always agree with. So I do make sure that I read those studies myself. So I don't let AI do the interpretation. I let it find particular studies that I'm interested in, so I can scan through the study for something that I like. The search function in Google Scholar and PubMed and Science Direct, it's not that good. It goes through keywords, but it doesn't go through the study itself. Whereas with Perplexity, the models that they have, Grok and ChatGPT and Sonnet and whatever, it goes into the studies a little bit more in depth. So if I say I want to look for scientific evidence where, or I want to compare all angiotensin receptor blockers regarding their unique characteristics, and then find me scientific evidence and citations to support that scientific evidence, but only for humans, not animal models, right? Then you let it run for 5 minutes, and then you get all these studies that, for different angiotensin receptor blockers, that might support what you're looking for or not. And the interpretations of these AI models, like ChatGPT, like a year ago, was shit, and now it's actually getting up to par to the interpretations that I have for these studies. But it just gives you an in. It's like a better search function into the studies that you want to look for. And then simple lists like give me a breakdown of all food sources with high amount of calcium per 100 grams, right? And it could just generate a list real fast instead of going to the USDA database and figuring that out per 100 grams for yourself. So it streamlines the research, but still need to do the research and then mix in my own experience, obviously, for a good script. Because otherwise it's just AI schlock, which a lot of people do nowadays. It's very easy to tell. All right, watch my Methylene Blue deep dive, and then watch everybody else's Methylene Blue deep dive or video. It's the same shit, the same trash, the same side effects. Yeah. Oh, serotonin syndrome. And I talk about fucking serotonin syndrome. I go deep. I go hard. Ask your mom. She knows exactly how deep and hard and how girthy I went into the research, right? I put my fucking lights on and get in there fucking elbow deep, right? And she loved it. That's why she asked me over the next day. So you watch my deep dive. I debunk all of that bullshit. Oh, it's a nitric oxide synthase inhibitor. And this diminishes the pump. No, shut the fuck up, you fucking piece of shit, whore, trash individual using ChatGPT as research or watching ChatGPT videos. I did the research. I read all of the studies, and I debunked it so hard. Is there a good analogy here? I don't know. But, right, so, well, you guys know what the difference is between my work and everybody else's work. Steve, where are the videos? Fucking takes time, dude. You have no idea. Takes a lot of time. Gibson, on Tren was the only time I didn't get drowsy megadosing melatonin 30 milligrams 5 times weekly. Okay, well, might have to put the Tren back in, bro. But all the oxidative stress that you get from Trenbolone, and then you have to take melatonin. Maybe we're just balancing it out. I could also not take Tren and not take melatonin and be in the same amount of oxidative balance. You know? Steve, could I find a job in Thailand as a physiotherapist? No. No, dude. Unless you do a YouTube channel about it. But there's plenty of Thai people doing physiotherapy jobs for $10, $20. How are you going to get in between, man? You know, unless a physiotherapist also offers escort services, then yes. But this kind of work, go to Dubai, go to Hong Kong, go to Singapore, where the actual money is. There's no money here in Thailand. Nobody makes money here, dude. English teachers make fuck all. Personal trainers make fuck all. And then they all have to hustle on the side. So you either work online or you don't. If you work online, the sky's the limit. You can make as much as you want to based on how smart you are and how hard you work. And if you want to do something locally, then what are you going to do? Personal training for $50 an hour maximum? I've done it, but I also did coaching, and I did like 20 different jobs at the same time. So I would just do 2 hours of PT per day, make another $100, and then be upon my way. So, but not everybody has that skill and the dedication. A physiotherapist, man, I don't see how you can find a job here. And you'd have to do it yourself, and then you run the risk of getting deported because nobody's going to hire you for that, as a company. People will hire you for the job, to get physiotherapy, but forget about it, man. Go to Dubai. Actually, there people are willing to spend money on that shit. When you talk about glucocorticoid steroid cream to tighten the stomach skin after getting lean, what type? I discussed that in the video. I can't remember. When I Google, it shows hydrocortisone as a glucocorticoid. Yeah, I think so. I can't remember. But it's in those videos, man. It's really in those videos. DHA sulfate is over the reference range, 1033, but unconjugated DHA right in the middle, 973. Why would this happen, and should I care? Depends on if you're supplementing or not. It's and which range is this? Because it sounds like it's twice out of the range that I'm familiar with. So what is this? Milligrams per deciliter, nanograms per, or millimoles? I don't know, dude. If your estrogen is super high, then I would worry about it. When is the Nandrolone deep dive coming out? When it's coming out, dude. When I have time. I got a follostatin video to do first, and every time I want to sit down for it, that my daughter commands my attention. So that is a priority. I've made enough content for you guys. So when I have time, I'll make content, and Nandrolone is in the queue list on the second one. But when I have time to make videos or the mood to have videos, I'm not sure. I'm enjoying this time of being a dad, man. I've waited for this for all my life. And yeah, so I know, done when it's done. I've been hitting the gym hard this week. I started having a twitch in my left tricep. Seems to get worse after caffeine. Today it hasn't stopped. Thoughts? Maybe a week off for the gym or what? Electrolytes are good. I don't know. Maybe a nerve impingement. Maybe you need to do some massage therapy. I don't know, dude. Could be one of those freak twinges and tweaks that happens. I have it sometimes too. Something twitches for a while and then it stops. I just ignore it. Maybe something is impinged in your neck or your shoulder or at the elbow. I don't know. Maybe consult with a physician. Maybe hire this guy. This guy's a physiotherapist. Lewis, meet Luca. Send him over to where you are. I'm sure he can figure it out for you. Give it a try. But yeah, some massage therapy, some Graston technique will probably fix that right up. Let's see. Do you think it's possible that lisdexamphetamine might start popping up on some of these peptide websites? No, guys, no. These guys do not want to sell Adderall. I get like an email like almost every day. Steve, where do we sell Adderall? I don't fucking know. I'm not a drug addict. Well, okay, I'm a drug addict, but at least I monetize my drug habits, and made a YouTube channel out of it. But all you fuckers want Listics, amphetamines, and Adderall, and Dexedrine 5 and all that shit. I don't fucking know where to sell that, man. I have no fucking idea. Ask in your local, drug selling corner. These companies will, the closest you're going to get is bromantane. That's the closest you're going to get. But these research peptide websites will never fucking touch this shit. You know why? Because it's a prescribed medication. Do they sell other prescription medications? Some of them are risky. They might sell some Telmisartan, some ezetimibe on the side. If it's coming from a compounding pharmacy and they write a prescription with it and it's only U.S. distribution, then I see a way that they can do that legally. But none of these peptide websites would want to touch this shit. Otherwise, it would already be there. So, no. Bromantane. For your information, you can get prescribed tadalafil through Amazon Pharmacy, and it's all done through text messages. Yeah, but tadalafil is something completely different than Dexedrine and Vyvanse, man. Then again, America has fucking weird rules, when it comes to pharmaceuticals. So, who knows? Let's see. Alex, I'm on T3 at 50 micrograms daily. I'm on Clen in a cut, thinking about running retatrutide. Should I titrate down to T3 and come off? Is it okay to run them together? So again, I discussed a little bit earlier that all of these in combination will increase your resting heart rate. So in your case, if you're still in the cut, I would reduce the T3 to 25 micrograms daily, split 12.5 micrograms morning and afternoon. Keep the Clen the same, add in the retatrutide, and then see what happens to your resting heart rate. You can get one of those oximeters that you put on your finger or arm on wrist monitor, which is linked down below with an Amazon link, right? To get a little kickback. So much appreciated if you go that route. And is there an oximeter linked? No, but you can get those for $1 on AliExpress. You don't need to buy a $20 oximeter. You can just get them for $1 on AliExpress. Yeah, so you can run them together, but it will be elevated resting heart rate galore. I'm taking 0.5 milligram dutasteride per day for hair loss. I've been told the dutasteride molecule is too large to cross the blood-brain barrier, thus not affecting neurosteroids. Is that bullshit? I have no idea. I've never really looked into these 5-alpha-reductase inhibitors because every time I look into them, they seem to have a very deleterious effect on libido. And all the men that I talk to that discuss dutasteride or finasteride with me, they usually do that in the context of a permanently damaged penis. So I don't know. I've never recommended these kinds of compounds ever, and I never really did much research into them. And even then, if dutasteride only goes systemic, neurosteroids are not only present in the brain, they're present everywhere on the body. So if you, notice that allopregnanolone levels are super low in the bloodstream, it's because dutasteride is still active in the peripheral tissue. So, I wouldn't touch these things, man. I would really look into other stuff to manage your hair loss. Chase, what's up, bro? Baby laid down for a nap. Yeah, I got wifey on baby duty right now, so I can actually do this live stream. Steve, how's life as a father? It's great. It's like every day is a puzzle that you have to figure out. The puzzle is exactly the same, but the solution is different. The puzzle cries. And then the crying intensity goes up, right? If you don't solve the puzzle fast enough. Now, many times solving the puzzle is by giving the baby food. That usually helps. But sometimes they have a little bit of gas. They're a little bit uncomfortable. They've been eating too fast, or the milk is too cold or too hot, right? So that you can get covered by having one of those, milk heaters. So I always have milk on standby for my wife's breast pumping, unless she wants to give breast milk directly. Or we make some formula to kind of fill in the blanks, right, if she's a little bit more hungry. So when she starts getting fussy, I have to put the breast milk from the fridge into one of these heaters. You bring it up to temperature and keep her entertained, just to make sure that she doesn't get too crazy hungry. And then I have to breastfeed her. And then every 30 minutes, you have to kind of sit her upright to make sure that she's burping. Otherwise, the burps gets too low, and then the crying intensifies. So you're breastfeeding her 30 to 40 milliliters, or you're feeding her 30 to 40 milliliters, sitting upright, letting her burp, or on the shoulder here. Sometimes it takes 5 to 10 minutes, and then she gets too hungry, and the burp doesn't come fast enough, and the arm starts failing. You're like, motherfuckers, I need to eat more. So you have to feed her again. And then usually on the second round, she starts, pooping in her diaper. So on the third feeding, before that, you try to burp her and do the diaper change. So it's like a race against the time, man. It's a race against time. And then, by the third 30 milliliters, she's looking at you dead in your eyes, and then you fucking melt. And you're like, this is what I'm all doing it for. Oh, 8 times a day, dude. 8 times a day. And normally I'd be on baby duty right now, right? So from my wife goes to bed at 11, and then I'm on baby duty from 11 to 4. So it's about 2 feeding times and 1 or 2 diaper changes, and a little bit of goo goo gaga and then entertainment. If she's wide awake, because her circadian rhythm is non-existent, so sometimes she's awake for 8 hours, and then sometimes she sleeps for 4 hours, and then but sometimes she's very awake, and then you need to entertain her, obviously, and trying to make her comfortable. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. We're almost a month in now. Let's say 4 weeks, almost 3.5 weeks, and every day is crazy. But man, being on standby the whole time for a baby, that takes a lot of work. I'll tell you that. And I made 100% the right decision, guys. For all the guys that want to get kids early on, don't fucking do it. Because I can literally not work. I don't have to work. Hey, guys, I don't have to work. You guys always stress me, do this, do that. I don't have to fucking work. I don't have to do shit for anybody. I'm done. I'm fucking done. I worked my fucking ass off for over a decade. I didn't spend any money. I invested it smartly. And then when I was 40, I looked at my bank account and was like, you know what? I could spend a little bit more, a little bit of money. I can go on a nice holiday. I can buy a car. I can buy another motorbike. All right. So the last year or so, I've been just not giving a fuck about spending money. But the first 15 years, I put everything away and let it appreciate. So now I'm at a point where I just don't. My wife doesn't have to work. I don't have to work. It's fucking great. I can spend 100% of the time with my family, the cats and the baby. And if I want to do a little bit of work on the side, that's on my personal decision, because I want to, not because I have to. And it's fucking great. Because everybody I know is not in that position. They still have to work. They still have to, juggle the job and the this and the that. And it's a fucking nightmare. You see how stressed they are and tired. And Steve, are you sleeping? Yeah, man, I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping totally fine. I take a 1 hour nap in the afternoon and I sleep 7, 8 hours at night because my wife is awake. We got staff. We got people to help us. I don't regret waiting this long to have kids because I'm in a position where I can just be there 24/7. Yeah. And that's very, very rare for parents to do. But this is where I worked my fucking ass off since I was, I don't know, 20 years old. Because I had a fucking shit upbringing. Parents never around because they had to work. And where they were around, they were drunk. And then they were fighting. And then they're divorced. And then they're not present. They're in the courtroom, and then still drunk when you see them. So I want none of that shit for my kids. So I built up a fuckload of capital. I built up a fuckload of capital. And I don't have to worry about shit. And luckily, you guys still use the discount code, so I don't even have to touch my savings because the discount codes are flying and the money's still coming in. So, guys, it makes my life super easy. Much appreciated. And since Chase is in the chat, guys, check out his website, Omega Aminos. You have to register, but after you register, a world of opportunity will open up. And then if you look at the opportunities, you realize that these opportunities will make you look like Chase or me. Well, Chase is, a lot more juicy. I still got it. Jeez, look at these mosquito bites. Fuck. I'll do the other side. See, I still got something like that. So that's all peptide enhanced, a little bit of steroids mixed in there. But Chase has got a great website, Omega Aminos. And I have a discount code code Vigorous. So once you register, you see that the prices are good, and it can be even better if you use my code. You know? So Chase is in the peptide game. And all you need to do is just fucking tattoo that fucking amigo sign on his forehead. And then, you know, he can be the superhero. Half Thai, half Dutch is not a combo you see every day. Hey, man, there's still I'm quarter Ukrainian. So it's like half Thai, what is it? Yeah, half Thai, 3/8 Dutch, and then 1/4 Ukrainian. Yeah. But when my grandma left Ukraine, it was not Ukraine, it was USSR. So I'm actually, you know, USSR. I'm a commie at heart. Let's see. I second David Roman. The Clips channel is awesome. Keep them coming. It keeps me brush up on a few topics during my morning cardio. Yeah, it's all old content, but for some people it's new because they can't get past the first 2 minutes of my videos. She's one blessed girl to have you as a father. Yeah, she'll be a fucking killer, dude. I'll teach her right. Stay away from guys like us. This guy's nothing like my daddy. Fucking loser. Get the fuck away from me. That's what you want to set. You want to set the standard so high that your daughters will not fuck around with these fucking losers, man. Don't give up that fucking you know, poontang for the guys who are you know, talk mad a mad game but have nothing to their name. So funny when they're laying flat crying and you pick them up and then massive burp comes out. Yeah. Yeah, it's silly, man. My wife's in Colorado on a girls' trip, so I've been on a baby duty this past few days. Man, you sitting there on a girls' trip to Colorado? You smoking that weed over there. Finally away from the husband. Oh, blazing it up. Actually, it's legal everywhere now, right? But Colorado was one of the first states to legalize weed. Shit, man, isn't it fucking high altitude? Colorado? Ask her when she gets back. What were your oxygen levels when you were there? God, if I send my wife on a girls' trip, it's I don't think it would be a good idea. All right, there you go. Code Vigorous. Half the shit is sold out, Chase. Yeah, yeah. It's because Nick Walker is also an affiliate. Nick says, "I'm using Reta. I get it from Omega Aminos." Fuck. There goes the stock. Happened to me once. Here's the Cerebral Lesson Deep Dive. Oh, it's not available. There goes my affiliate sales. Fucking cosmic. Fucking cunts. The rest will be back next week. You promise? You promise? Otherwise, they're going to go somewhere else, man. Can't let that stock go. Yes, high altitude. She did a 40-mile run out there somehow. Man. So I went to Mongolia. And I think that's the same altitude as Colorado. Colorado altitude. 2,000 meters. All right. And Mongolia. Average altitude is 1,600 meters. Yeah, so let's say it's about the same because I went somewhere in the middle of fucking nowhere. So let's say it's 2,000 kilometers. What is Hotgal? Mongolia. 1,600. Okay, so it's not as high as Colorado. But man, even at 1,600 meters above sea level, dude, you're fucking out of breath. You're like, and all these Mongolians wanted to wrestle. That's like their national pastime thing. Oh yeah, you look like you used to work out, right? Okay, let's wrestle. Let's assert dominance, and then you wrestle for like 30 seconds and you're dead. So I don't know how she did a 14-mile run, but if she comes back and she says it was tough, I have a deep dive on this. It's called myoinositol tripars phosphate, and if she's done breastfeeding, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Any plans for an updated format for Slank and Samax? That's not really high on the priority list, but maybe one day. One day, like if I do another Slank and Samax video, it will have to be like a proper deep dive, right? And it's there's so many other deep dives in the pipeline that would do better view wise and affiliate sales wise. And I'm still a businessman, so. Then again, I really wanted the ITPP and the Sorbitron deep dives to do well, but not much interest for that. Too bad. Well, it's there now for life. 2,700 meters. Holy shit, man. Fuck. Give me an oxygen tank. She's a nut job. Yeah, but that's why we marry them, right? You need the nut jobs. You need the killer girls. Otherwise, you go crazy, man. You know, these fucking princesses. Yeah, they're gonna eat a salad. And then the most exertive things they do is going to the Gucci store buying fucking handbags. You can't live with that, man. You need a killer in the house. What is your wife doing? Yes, she's running a marathon in Colorado. Like me and Chase know what that means. But most of these guys they marry somebody who's just fucking sitting on the couch all day. Yeah, and then over 40, that turns into a completely unfuckable mess. So when you're like 25 years old, 30 years old, and you meet one of these girls like a fitness nut, and like, oh, I got to train. Like my wife, she was training like 2 days before giving birth, and just doing fucking walking lunges and shit, heavy stuff, and barely gained an ounce of fat during her pregnancy. And then now she's going back to the gym after having a cesarean and stuff, and she's just lifting heavy weights and doesn't give a fuck. And yeah, that's what you need, man. Because dude, by the time they're 50, still kicking ass. Still kicking ass. You get a nice, cougar in the house, and it makes life a lot easier, man. Otherwise, you have to, cheat on her with girls half her age. But the fitness chicks, they stay, very active up until that age. Or so I've heard. So fingers crossed. They got 10 years to go. But I know that most, you don't cheat on cougars. It's no need. No need. They'll make you tired at the end of the day. I want to go to the bar. No, 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 no. You're not going anywhere. Not after I give you this, you know. Anyway, I'm not talking about Chase's wife, just talking about my wife. Farm girls is where it's at. Yeah, man. They know their way around the haystack. Midwestern girls. See. Hee haw. Fuck. Why does this fucking podcast always get derailed into fucking sexual? Or maybe that's just me. I'm just a pervert. No other way around the haystack, man. Yeah. No need to cheat 3 girls and you stay loyal to all 3. Yeah, that's how it used to work. Yeah. I was loyal to all my 5 girlfriends. When you find the one, you don't do that shit anymore. Just get it out of your system. Get all that shit out of your system before you get married. I see all these guys. They live a very Christian life back home, and then they come to Thailand, and then they want to misbehave when they already got a girlfriend or a wife. No, 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 no. Just do that first. Do the misbehaving first when you're young and you don't have too much money to really go, crazy. And then when you're settled, you spend that money on your family. Not when you think you had a good life and then you come to Asia or you have some money to your name and then your life starts with all that crazy shit. That's how you get divorced. That's how you lose half of your shit. Just like that CEO. Enjoying that concert. Oh, fuck. I'm on national TV. All right, let's get back to the drug questions, bro. Wim Hof the second. Hey, Steve. Hey, Chase. Just got back watching all of your videos. Is 10 years growth hormone every other day enough to see good growth on 1,000 milligrams of gear? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Go for it. And then switch to every day so you get more growth. Or you have less growth in the fridge, but you have more growth in your body. Mots-C is the best peptide for energy, at least. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Mots-C is like nothing else. And then SS-31 is a nice addition. And higher dosages of SLU are also a nice addition. But Mots-C gives you the most energy, but it seems to last for like 4 to 5 hours after the injections. So I might have been double dosing. Might have been double dosing as of recently. Is Increlex painful after injection on the injection site? How does it feel? Yes, so it has acetic acid in there, and it burns a little bit. So if you go bilateral and you dilute it with bacteriostatic water or acetic acid solution, then yeah, it burns a little bit, but not as bad as gonorrhea allegedly, and not as bad as suspensions like Winzel suspension or testosterone suspension. And not even as bad as carnitine. Now, carnitine can be pain-free, right? Some of them are double micronized or however they do it. It's not that painful, but if you go with the less reputable carnitine or glutathione, that's way more painful than Increlex. So let's say you do chest, hit it both sides, half a milligram, you inject, you feel like a little bit of a burn, then you go to the gym, and then by the time you do your first set, that burn is gone. And then all you get is stupid booba pump, especially if you combine it with, injectable pre-workout. Talking about injectable pre-workout, guess who's back? Guess who's back? AA. Anabolics Anonymous is now back under SomaChems. It's linked in the link tree. So if you can't find something on Chase's website, or the MA website, Modern Aminos, head over to SomaChems. They have the entire lineup of Anabolics Anonymous, and they're right back in the game. So it didn't take long. New website, new labeling, same products, maybe under a different name to be a little bit more legit than before, because of course AA was the most shady and dodgy gray area peptide website with the broadest product range. I'm surprised they lasted that long, but SomaChem said they took a couple products off the menu, but the menu is still extensive. So have a look at the link tree, and obviously all of these compounds are indexed in the source list. Although for Chase's website, you need to register, so those links will just go to omegaamino.net, and then, but if you register, I think those link goes directly to the pages. So if you register an account there and you're already logged in, and if you use my source list where everything is indexed, and then you go there and, the affiliate links, and just make sure you use my code, obviously, then everything will be delivered to you. I'm surprised they lasted that long. Yeah. Dude, I think I was with them for like 4 years, 5 years, AA. And always paid on time, never heard complaints. If there was an issue with the order, they would sort it out in 24 hours. So yeah. So I think from a customer perspective, they were loved, and then obviously the FDA, they're like, oh, you're not supposed to be doing this kind of shit, and then finding an excuse to rate them. But hey, they're back. SomaChems is the new name, same team. Same injectable pre-workouts, good old ATP blends. Hell yeah. So you know where to find those. And if you want to get some rHCG Mots-C, well, head over to Chase Iron's website. He has that shit too. And injectable SLU is on the way, I believe. So better send me some samples to try, because I have not gotten my hands dirty with injectable SLU. All right, let's see. Any more questions? Also amazing for women's longevity. So you have wife for longer. Yeah. Yeah, man. Don't marry a woman that doesn't go to the gym. Because when they're over 40, it starts to show, dude. Like, and my wife is 42 now, right? And people can't fucking believe it. They're like, what the fuck? You're 42. They couldn't believe that she was pregnant. Even my neighbor didn't know she was pregnant, dude. See, you're pregnant? I said, yeah, look at this. He's like, what? You're, you're due next week? What the fuck? And all these Western women, man, they fucking explode. I don't know what's going on. So even here, we went to the fertility specialist like 2 times a month, right? Every 2 weeks to kind of see if everything was going well with the baby, or the hospital, right? We went there, and they see all these women. They're like belly up to here, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? The baby is not that big. What, girl? What are you eating? Literally, the only curve that they have is their stomach, right? There's no shoulders, there's no boobies, there's no quads, there's no glutes, and my wife's just like fucking popping everywhere because she still went to the gym. So, well, what can you do? It's not my wife, not my problem. FDA is the fun place. Ain't that the fucking truth? All right. I think it's time for me to stop the super chats because it's been 2 hours and I need to relieve my wife from baby duty. Let's see. Jamie T, not James T. After 6 weeks, 150 milligrams testosterone cypionate, got SOB and physical anxiety during the workout. SOB, son of a bitch? I don't know what that means. After 8 weeks, awoken by physical panic attacks. Total testosterone 1351 nanograms per deciliter, free estradiol high. Skipped injection, lowered the dose. Now anxiety 24/7. Yeah, it sounds like it's too much for you. So I would stop the testosterone for a week and let your hormone levels decline. And yeah, use some phosphatidylserine or theanine or ashwagandha root extract. Like Gorilla Calm is an excellent product to kind of bring anxiety levels down and make you a little bit relaxed. And Gorilla Calm plus Gorilla Dream, that's probably the best stack to bring these kinds of things down. But it sounds that your hormone levels are just too high. We made a short about this. We discussed this in the previous Vigorous Q&A. Some guys just don't respond well to TRT in the beginning because the change of low hormones to high hormones is so dramatic that they get these panic attacks, these anxiety attacks, these noradrenaline dumps, and it's just too much for them. And I hate to say it, but it means that your body is weak and that you need to train your body to this higher level. So reduce the dose to a dose that you feel comfortable with. Start training a little bit harder, do a little bit of daily fasted cardio, live the lifestyle, and then you can slowly start ramping up the dose over the next couple of months. But it's just too much in too short of a time, and maybe 100 milligrams or 75 milligrams testosterone cypionate is more ideal for you. And maybe you need to do daily subcutaneous microadministrations to prevent these spikes in hormone levels. That will bring your anxiety down, man, for sure. I've seen it happen 100 times before. It just sucks when it happens. Stopped TRT and exercise last week. Seems to be reducing a bit. Free T. Yeah, so keep exercising, but stop the TRT until you feel better. Keep exercising. That will actually help you relax more. Order some Gorilla Calm and Gorilla Dream. Take that before bed at the recommended capsule amounts to get the ingredients. And then because the training will just help with adrenaline dumping, So if anything, that lowers your adrenaline. Do an ice bath. That might help also acutely. Also help dump your adrenaline. So that will reduce the anxiety and just kind of calm you out. But stopping the TRT and then lowering the dose when all these symptoms are gone, compared to the 150 milligrams per week, that's the way to go. And then you slowly build it up as your body gets stronger. All right, last one. Used finasteride for a year. Stopped 3 days ago due to weaker erections, morning woods. Thinking about raising testosterone cypionate. Don't asking master on Proviron. Any other suggestions? How long does recovery usually take? It could take years. It could take years because the finasteride lowers your DHT levels, obviously, and finasteride stays in your system quite long. It might lower DHT levels for quite a long time. So you can add in the master on Proviron to get some DHT-like effects, but it might not be sufficient. Not everybody responds well to that. Ideally, you just let the finasteride run its course and use something like nicotinamide mononucleotide or NAD+ to help with the enzymatic reactions of the 5-alpha reductase enzymes, whether that's type 1, 2, or 3, to help convert the testosterone cypionate into adequate DHT levels. And there seems some people get some sort of downregulatory effect regarding these 5-alpha reductase enzymes. And nicotinamide mononucleotides or nicotinamide riboside or NAD+ injections, the NMN and the NR are oral formulations, which I mentioned in the post-finasteride syndrome video, that seems to have an upregulating effect. And that might also upregulate aromatase enzyme expression or activity, because those are also dependent on the NAD+ molecules as an electron donor. So look into that. And you can always supplement with DHEA and pregnenolone to help with neurosteroid levels to kind of balance that as well. And then everything is good. Everything is good with time. But I would rather look into DHT powders than, which seems to be a little bit more difficult to acquire nowadays. And otherwise, Proviron should give you immediate relief. If it's a DHT response thing, Proviron should give you 25 milligrams sublingually. It should give you immediate relief in erections. And otherwise, again, it could be a total picture thing. It could be a testosterone level thing, or DHT level thing, or an estradiol thing, or DHA, DHA sulfate thing, pregnenolone thing. So go on the full Monty of hormone replacement, and then bring those libido or bring those erections back. I have an excellent deep dive on libido. Give those a watch, or give that one a watch. All right, guys, that's it. Let's throw in the towel. Chase, thanks for jumping in. Always good to see you. And we'll figure this out soon. Text me your address. I'll send you some. Ooh. Can't wait. Don't send me any cagrilinotide, though. Fuck, man. Don't do that. All right, guys, this was fun. I got to go back on standby so my wife can actually sleep. It wouldn't surprise me if she's on the couch with my baby in her arms, like knocked out. Both of them are snoring. So I got to go back to daddy duty. The videos will come when I have time and I feel ready for it. But I'm doing the best I can with the limited time that I have. All right, guys, enjoy your weekend. I know I will. I will spend that $10 on cheesecake tomorrow. Take care.